In this tutorial, we're going to create an explosion using ice and the render tree. If I tab on over to a flipbook, I've got a work in progress explosion that, if we scrub through it, meets the requirements of your typical explosion. There's not really much of a smoke state yet, but again, we're just kind of working on that. The most important part of our explosion here is that intense release of energy right at the beginning of the explosion, and the size of the blast radius is going to determine how much energy we're consuming as fuel. As we move through the explosion, we burn through the fuel, so that initial release of energy has now found a volume of extremely high temperatures, and with the different bits of gas dispersed through this volume, we get hotter and cooler areas as the cloud expands, so we can see the cooling of some of the chemicals and the hot areas forming through the cracks. And as the entire explosion cools down, we're left with a cloud of smoke-filled gases at the very end. So we want to create this in stages, and we're going to use the default sets we've been working with all along. We're going to open up a browser and access the environment models as well as the destroyed buildings. If I move on into a texture decal view, I'm going to scout out a location in this destroyed town for an explosion to take place. And I always get drawn back to this little brick house here just because of these barrels. These barrels will make a great kind of subject matter for creating an explosion. Perhaps there's some fuel of sorts in here. After all, this is a bit of a mercenary hideout. So let's prep this scene for our simulation.